All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Zikomo Langston,
I'm Wallace Miles.
and this is the Just 10 Pages podcast. So, Just 10 Pages originally is a book club started out here in Atlanta, and Just 10 Pages is a mantra. It's a reminder to challenge people who are book readers or want to become book readers to just read 10 pages a day. It's something very simple that I read in a book called The Slight Edge that said if you read 10 pages a day for a year, that's 3,650 pages you've read.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to challenge myself and then also challenge other men, because that's the group is men's book club. I wanted to challenge them to read just 10 pages so that we could, read more books for the year.
What value do you see in reading those those 3,600 pages? Like what? Yeah, I read, but what's the intent? What's the end goal? What do I get out of it?
Mm, well, it just depends on the person. For me, it kind of changes from time to time. Sometimes I'm reading the book for educational purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a business that I'm working on, so I'm trying to, expose myself with as much information so I can have an edge or get an advantage. And then sometimes I might be reading just because I'm trying to work on my communication and my vocabulary. So I might be just reading a book, a book that is above my reading level, and trying to get those words. And then
Yeah.
sometimes it just feels good to read. So like you get that motivation, especially when I do it in the morning. You read your 10 pages, or sometimes I might read a little bit more. It's just a great way to start the day off. And you're introducing all these concepts, all these different ideas, which might not make a lot of sense at that particular time. But the way our mind works, it's always constantly associating different things, especially when you're asking yourself, hey, I
Right.
need to do this. It's associating and building new ideas, and something may come of it, So sometimes it's an experience. It's just, I like the feeling of doing something that is, that is going to help progress me into what I'm trying to do. I feel like I'm developing myself. So I just like the feeling. So sometimes I might not even remember what I read, but I like the feeling
Yeah.
that I completed this for the day.
Now, I one just from that, I like how we can come together and people have two different perspectives or views because I view reading in three tiers or three phases that help us,
Mm-hmm.
and you had a completely different perspective that I appreciate now that I hear it. So for me, one is the content. Content, you're gonna learn whatever somebody's thoughts was, their experiences, anything that they decide to put down that you found time to go through. It just gives you more perspective, more things to draw from. But then two is the habit. 10 days, and you think I always go back to working out in gym because it's easy to see the growth in your physical appearance. So going to the gym every day, even when you don't feel like it, is going to continue to help you develop your body, but also develop your mental resilience to, hey, I don't feel like it, but I got to make progress in it. So that's another thing that I like. It's just another lane to instill that discipline and continuing to grow. Sometimes it's your body, sometimes it's your mind. But then also the other piece is longevity or perseverance, mental perseverance. So sometimes you don't feel like reading, but you continue to push and extend um, your playing field. So I used to could run 100 meters, but then I started running 200 meters, and then I ran a mile. Now I'm reading 10 pages. I'm retaining. I'm pushing reading 15 pages. Or I read one 10-page section on Monday. I didn't do it again to the next Monday. Then the next is two days. You're continuing to push your mental threshold, and then you'll see how that affects in your life. Like now you can work on your job longer, or you can start your business and look at the details and information longer because what you're doing with these 10 pages is continuing to push yourself further and further. So that's how I always looked at reading. That's why I was so excited when you started this book club. So that's my perspective on the 10 pages. Put them both together, and you got somebody can grow from.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I said, just 10 pages. It's a mantra.
Yeah.
I like it because it's very simple. It can be unintimidating. You know, I since I've started the podcast, not podcast, but since I've started the book club about last year, it was a private book club.
Mm-hmm.
People, when I tell them about the book club, they're like, yeah, I'm down. Now, does everybody consistently do it every single time?
Yeah.
No, but they do have the intention to want to do it. And that just 10 pages just makes it digestible. It's like,
Yeah.
I can do that. I was talking to a cousin of mine. She's more like an aunt. And she was saying that she reads 3 pages a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that too, because as you mentioned, in terms of the habit, building that endurance, especially, and this goes for anybody who wants to start reading more or just build a habit. If you can, try to do it consistently at a specific time every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she was telling me about how she read 3 pages a day, and she might finish the book in 2 or 3 months.
Right.
And I just thought that that was good too. 3 pages is very simple.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, some of these books can get really heavy. It can be really deep. So it's about taking the time and having the patience, and that's something that I've also been working on too.
That's another word right there. Patience.
Patience. Yeah. Patience is a big part. That's another part of the 10 pages. Like, another thing that I'm watching constantly as I'm reading too, like it's a mental check too. Like, I might get in a point at a point in the book where it's just like, I just want to keep reading more.
Right.
But because I know I got a certain amount of time allotted to this, I have to check my emotions and say, we're gonna tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's just and then that 10 pages, let's say you read a book that's 300 pages, that's 30 days.
Yeah.
So in 30 days I'm going to be finished with it, and it just helps you to kind of just stick to the plan.
You know what? When you talked about the 3 pages, it came to my mind is like when they tell you how to eat, they tell you to chew on it for a long time. Yeah, I think they tell you 20 chews.
Yeah.
But that's just so your body can really digest the nutrients that you're putting in.
Yeah.
When you are taking your time with the reading that you're going through, you can really spend the quality time to digest what you're getting and continue to move forward consistently, instead of just, I got 30 pages done today, but what did you gain from it? What did you is going to help you as you move forward? What did you digest from it? That's what I heard when you was talking.
That is true. When you give yourself a number like 3, 5, or 10, it actually allows you to read slower.
Yeah.
Because you know that you can meet
you're
that.
You're not in a rush.
Yeah, you're not in a rush. So it's allowing you to go line for line. If you want to look up the words, which is something I've started to grow an appreciation for, it's just looking up the words. You can really understand the concepts that are being taught to you. Now, this could maybe be another show, but I've also been studying note-taking.
Yeah.
Different ways, like how to read a book. Like, there's a way to read the book. That thing called the table of contents? Like, that
There's a reason it's there.
A very important part of the book. And one of the things that helps as you're reading is to have a purpose. So what I mean by purpose is, of course, you might say, I want to know this information so I can do this, that, and the third with it. But another way of giving it purpose is if you go and read the table of content and you see, how he's titling it. Maybe there's a little brief description of each one of the subheadings for the table of contents. You can create a question.
Yeah.
So as you're reading with a question in your head as you're looking for, so it gives your mind something to do as you're reading.
Yeah.
Oh, he said this chapter was about, I don't know, but it's just, he said this chapter was about this. So now I'm going to flip that into a question, and now I'm reading with a question in mind so I can absorb as much content.
Do you feel like you get let down when they don't answer that question?
Well, I guess
this is just me poking.
Yeah, no. That's a good question. No, because I don't make real complex questions. I keep the questions kind of broad.
Yeah.
And then if the book says, okay, out of that question, after I answer it, they tell me it's 4 parts to this answer.
Yeah.
Then now I'm looking for those 4 parts.
Yeah.
But I don't make it too complex to where they can't answer it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a person that I'm talking
right.
to. So I do want to give it some wiggle room. But yeah, I've learned that it's good to have a question in the back of your mind, because now your mind is looking to answer the question.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I got 2 questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So for the month of March, you challenged us to read The Way of the Superior Man.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you select that book, and why? What do you feel like was? I don't want to make it too broad, but what did you intend to get out of it before you read it? Let's go that way.
Okay. Well, it's not as complex as you think. So, as I told you, I'm trying to make reading more digestible. I'm trying to, make it look like it's much manageable and we can do it. So, and I'm also trying to make it appealing. So the reason why I chose The Way of the Superior Man for this club is because if you guys are Nipsey Hussle,
Yeah.
this was a book that he talked about a lot on
Really, I didn't know
several
that.
different podcasts
Okay.
that he was on, and I am actively trying to find people within the culture who talk about books to use that or leverage that to go and share it with the youth or people our age
Yeah.
to get them interested. So if I got a book like The Way of the Superior Man and I got this rapper, you know, talking about it, then that could be a way of drawing people in and for them to start asking questions. What is that book about?
So it was
I
a
want to be a
marketing
part.
ploy.
It's a marketing ploy. Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the
100%.
day,
The goal
everything
is to get it in front of people's
you
eyes.
got to
So
put the medicine in the candy.
got him.
So yeah, so that's what I'm doing with this. So that's why I started, and I actually bought the book about a couple years ago. Actually, after I heard him talk about it,
Yeah.
I bought the book. I went through it, and this is where the just 10 pages has its value. I was just reading chapter by chapter, just skimming through it, and I didn't absorb really much anything from it.
Yeah.
But after I suggested the book for last month, oh man, it was just so much insight, so many epiphanies, so many. It was like holding up a mirror to myself to kind of see where I stand in this area,
Right.
So a lot of self reflection.
So why you say you got so many insights? Let's pick one to start with.
Um, so one, okay, so I got notes here.
Bring your notes,
Yeah,
man.
I got notes
Look,
here.
you had to
So
learn how to take notes, right?
yeah.
Use them.
So um, okay, so let's just keep it open. So like, I've been getting a complaint in not several, but I'd say a few of the relationships that I've been in that I'm not a romantic guy.
You're not a romantic guy.
I'm not a romantic guy.
Okay.
And it's just been,
Do you agree with that?
after reading the book, yeah.
Okay.
It showed it to me in a way that I can accept and say, I am that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that stood out is in the chapter is called Praise Her.
Yeah.
And Praise Her is essentially talking about one of your responsibilities as a man in a relationship is to motivate the woman.
Right.
But to motivate her, you have to do it in a specific type of way. And I think I mentioned this to you via text, but I've learned that there's a feminine and a masculine language.
Definitely.
I speak more in the masculine language.
And that's where a lot of us have trouble, is because you grow up as a young boy, you grow into a man, you spend time talking to men.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I communicate, and it's effective in this space.
Yeah.
But now, the only time we ever really interact with women on a consistent basis normally is relationships, or I'm trying to spit some game. So now I'm taking this language I speak all the time and trying to communicate to you in that language, and it does not hit the same. I told my wife, man, I'm coming from a locker room, a football locker room, and all the stereotypes you want to put into it is probably right.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to you and speaking to you in your language, it's gonna take some time, because I don't even understand how you talk to me sometimes, let alone how what I say affects you. So that's one of the values I saw in the book, in just understanding that there is a language barrier. But now, how do you start to mend or speak that language, work to speak that language?
Yeah. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like you said, we are in spaces. We deal more with men than we do with women, and I like the masculine language. Why? Because it's not personal. It's
Yeah.
a very, it's very cold, and it is about objects and things in my mind. So the way when I say cold, I don't mean, harsh or anything like that, but it's detached. I'm not talking so much about me, the person. I get to talk about this thing, whether that's I get to talk about the sports. I get to talk about, you know, this book. I'm not really getting into the person per se, but the feminine
All right,
is
that's
about,
actually kind of scary what you just said, but go ahead.
yeah, it's you're talking about things, and you get to pontificate, and you get to come up with all these philosophies with the way that I like to do it.
Yeah.
You get to come up with all these philosophies and these different scenarios of how this can happen, and that is the fun, the pleasure for me on my side.
Do you think it's we don't take insults, or we learn to take insults differently? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
insults is like fun and games at some point. It's not.
Yeah,
It's crazy that you can tell when somebody the energy is different, or we're like, I'm really disrespecting you.
yeah,
But we play and talk about with insults all the time.
yeah.
Try that with your wife.
Oh man, so funny story. Can we cuss or?
It's your
Okay,
thing,
all
man.
right.
It's right.
So like, so funny. So I have a membership at a gym,
Yeah.
and recently they sent me a message asking me, "Hey, how likely are you to invite someone else to come to this gym?"
Yeah.
And I gave them a 6. You know,
Honesty, very honesty. I like it.
I gave him a 6, and I told him what my discrepancies were.
Yeah.
But the reason why, well, okay, so the reason why I did that was because there is a trainer that I work with, and one of his clients, she, female, and she put in a request, and she was complaining about something. So the manager came to her and was saying, "Hey, I need you to change this because, we can't have this type of score. So what can we do to make this right?"
Right.
And she just started complaining. So, so I was, joking with my trainer, and I was saying, "Hey, man," I was like, "this complaining works." I was like, "This complaining, I'm about to start complaining about everything."
Hey, you joking? And we can keep it moving, but
Wait. So he was like, "Man, you such a bitch, man." And I laughed, I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, but bitching and complaining works, man.
Yeah.
It gets things moving, But we joking, we can, tongue in cheek. It's like it's not personal,
Yeah.
But in the feminine language, and we talked about this off camera. It seems like they are asking you to give your personal opinions about certain things, but they want to know in relationship to them. Like, so how do you feel about this? Like, I was just leaving the gym before I came over here, and, there's this older woman, and, I always come by and, try to talk to her, because if I don't say something to her, even if I didn't see her, she gonna be mad. So
Yeah.
I just always just like to ask her how she's doing. So I went over, I talked to her, and she was like, I was like, "Hey, I gotta go. I gotta rush and get to this, that, and the third." And she was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then she was like, "That ain't none of my business, right?" And I was just like,
That sounds like some scar tissue, bro. She had been scarred over the years.
Yeah, and it was like the way that she asked me that is it puts you in a position to where if I answer honestly,
I'm
then it's
an
like
asshole.
I'm hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
But if I go and kind of like, kind of beat around her and just kind of, say something else, then it's like, okay, I wasn't being honest with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the feminine, they ask you questions to kind of, in my opinion, to kind of see how you feel about them. And for me, that's kind of difficult at times, because it's like, I want to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're going to ask me a question, I want to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat around the bush and have to, finesse and say this and say that, when it's like, okay, I just want to say, you asked me the question,
And I want to
let
tell
me
you,
be honest,
So what I gleaned from this book is like, what's your end goal? Because speaking candidly and truthfully may not always be the praise and the building that you hope to do. So like, your wife, and this is always a stereotypical, your wife comes and says, "Do I look fat in this?" And in your mind, you be like, "I'm gonna tell you it's a loaded question. I'm gonna tell you the truth, but at the same time, do I want my wife to be confident and strong and excited about who she is that my end goal, or is it, do I need to tell you, hey, yeah, you look big right now? The other part is like, I don't want you to walk out the house looking crazy. So how do I put those two together? Because I want to build you. I want to say, look, you look beautiful. Maybe like, look, maybe if you wear this, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be a little better. But getting put on the spot of like, hey, do I look like this? Or hey, I listened to a comedian recently. He was like, his wife asked him, if we were animals in the wild, what animal would you be? She was like, I'll be a lioness. She said,
I already know where this is going.
she said, what would you want to be? He said, it's Barry Brewer, by the way. He was like, I'll be an eagle. And she was like, a lioness and an eagle don't go together, Barry. He was like, hold on now, what? You asked
Yeah.
me what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But because of my answer has to always tie into you and how you feel in my relationship with you.
Yeah.
And they went to a council and everything. He's like, he's supposed to be a lion, but he wants to be an eagle. He wants to fly away or something. Like, you asked the question.
Yeah. Yeah. But there again, she wanted him. She thought she was being thinking ahead
Yeah.
and think he's gonna be a lion. So
Right.
if I'm a lioness, then we go together.
Right.
She's thinking ahead like that. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier, where women, they kind of have this predisposition. They're looking for you to kind of speak towards them. So in that situation right there where she says she's the lioness, she's looking to kind of like be with him. But I guess for me, where was I going with that? I kind of got lost.
I do know that what you were saying is in the book is like like women in love is not men's ultimate goal. Like women can love a man, that's their thing. But for us, like, and people don't want to hear it, but women are secondary. Your purpose, your desire, the thing that you are inside should be the one thing. But that thing, that purpose, that direction, that's gonna hold your relationship strong, because that's gonna create that trust and faith that you are gonna be able to support. Because honestly, at the end of the day, a woman just wants to be supported, whether it's verbally, whether it's financially, monetarily, whatever. They just want that support.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how he opens up the book by talking about the difference between the masculine and the feminine.
Right.
And I think he calls it sexual polarity. And the first thing you're supposed to do is to identify which one are you. And I guess there's nothing wrong with being a feminine man. And feminine doesn't mean, you being a woman. Feminine just means that you're maybe more nurturing, you're playing the supportive role.
Right.
Masculine means that you have a mission, you have a plan that you are actively working towards. So if you identify as a masculine man, then you probably want to have a feminine woman beside you so that she can help aid you in realizing, your goals or your mission. So yeah, that was a major point. Like, and another part of that is he actually broke down the difference between a masculine woman and a feminine woman.
Right.
And he said that a feminine woman is undisciplined, chaotic. She may be all over the place in her thinking. She is lacking direction, essentially. And he said a masculine woman.
But like you said, much more nurturing. Because when you got her, it may be some chaos, but that woman has got your back. She's got the supportive in her. It just may be, you may have to deal with a little bit more than you're used to as a man, as a masculine man, to continue to increase and maintain that polarity you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And then he talks about the masculine woman, and he says that she already has a plan. She is more balanced in her thinking. She's clear thinking. She's practical. And when I first heard it, I was like, that sounds like the type of woman that I want to be with. But I think the point that he was trying to make is if you are taking on the masculine position, then it is your responsibility to set the plan. Like, there's only one plan. If there are two plans, then there's going to be a lot of headbutting.
Yeah.
But so you want a feminine woman so that you can guide her. you can kind of sculpt her in your image, as they would say.
Ooh,
That's kind of what I got from what he
that's
said.
sketchy right there.
Yeah.
That's sketchy.
But
I think when I heard it, I was more so on the lines of you're a masculine man. First, I thought about in elementary school you had magnets. They were like a rod,
yeah,
and one side was the North Pole, one was the South Pole. The two norths don't connect.
yeah,
The North and the South collect. That's that increased polarity.
yeah.
So
Complimentary.
yeah, and he said that if you're a masculine man, you want to get a more feminine woman because that polarity increases. But to me, when that polarity increases, and I even look at it in my own relationship, like when it's crazy when I start reading it, you could tell like we were in a space where we were not polarized to each other at all, and we were very disconnected. But when we are polarized, she supports me a lot more. I support her. I'm doing the dishes more. Like it's just that connectivity. You want to set your relationship up from the start to have a chance. So
Yeah.
if you're a masculine man, ideally you want to try to find somebody who is, and that doesn't mean she doesn't have a career. That doesn't mean she doesn't really have any goals. But it's more so she is of the feminine nature, of more supportive, more. I'm not gonna not agreeable, because it's rare that you find like a woman that's just straight up agreeable, even if she says okay, it may not be, but just somebody that is, it's honestly your counter, because at the end of the day, and if you look, going back to science, you put those little graphite members around two magnets that are polarized, they surround it, they round it out. So that's what, to me, a masculine man and a feminine woman, they're rounding each other out, because you're aggressive, you're intense, you're focused. But that doesn't mean you need to take that in every space. She's helping you on the home front, become round you out. So when you step in any arena, because honestly, I feel like my wife helps me step in any space and be able to function efficiently. Well, more efficiently, because I got space to grow. But those two people that's knocking heads all day, it may not be as efficient on the outside or on the inside.
I don't know if you remember this part of the book, but just listening to your story, where he says that it's in her nature to test a man.
Yep.
And if you can overcome the test that she's giving you, then you can be successful at your goal. How did you feel about that?
One thing you have to do, because like I feel like I've heard it. They say iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. But to hear it in this book, it made me realize I need to understand that and just accept that that's what it is, because then that helps me, because my ego or whatever that's fighting for Wallace, when she interrogates it or attacks it, my mind is to fight back. But really, like, her interrogation is preparation. So me understanding that it helps me to not fight so hard here, and helps me to accept what she says. And honestly, like, women can say some stuff, you be like, hold on now, where we trying to go? But be able to accept it, find out where I need to grow in it, and then move forward. And when I move forward through it, and that's why I feel like we're tasked with the leadership. When I move forward through it, we're able to, you keep using that word, continue to stay polarized. Because when I get an attitude, and she already came, I'm going to put my attitude on her. She going to throw her attitude back, and now we're going in different directions. But this book helped me understand, like, this is what it is. And it's not to tear you down. It's actually helping you build yourself up, being able to be conscious. And I told you, when I was reading it, I was trying to implement it. Honestly, bro, the last 2 weeks have probably been the best 2 weeks in my marriage in probably about 6 months. But it was just the internalizing and trying to utilize the knowledge that I'm gaining from my 10 pages a day in my life. And I feel like it has helped. I got to be consistent. But that's one thing I got from that point in the book.
Yeah. That's where I got a lot of the value from, is in the relationship portion.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I realized about myself through reading the book is that I've also been in a position where I've tolerated stuff, where as a man, I guess you feel like, I feel like I can't really complain and voice certain things. And although somebody may be meeting me with a certain type of energy, it's like I'm supposed to just not be affected and kind of just go on. And he talked about that he talked about that in a book as he described as weakness. And one of the
What's weakness?
just tolerating,
Tolerating stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
tolerating and not necessarily,
I agree.
you know, stepping in and I guess voicing your opinion, or also being able to step in and be a leader in that position.
Yeah,
And I guess one of the examples that happened to me recently, and this wasn't someone that I was dating, um, so a little while back, for about the past couple years, well, actually for the past 5 years, me and my cousin, we've kind of been living together.
yeah,
And, overall, it was, a pretty decent experience. But we had recently moved into this house together. And things just started kind of changing. I'll say
right.
that. And it got to a point to where, I kind of had to step away from, the place and kind of move somewhere else, because it was certain things that were happening that it was really affecting me. And I
Yeah,
felt like I couldn't really voice my opinion about it because of the circumstances of the situation. And just after reading this book, it was just so much clarity that it was like, man, that's something that you got to work on.
yeah,
You got to be able to kind of like speak up. And normally I am the type of person to kind of speak up. Like, I don't really,
yeah. I'm about to say
you
she
know,
must have been doing something crazy because Zikomo gonna say his opinion.
well, it's not. Well, I guess the reason why I don't really say much about it is because I'm trying to figure out a way to maintain balance.
Yeah,
First and foremost, I'm not gonna get into that, but it was, I'm trying to find a way to kind of maintain peace for me, in these type of situations, because typically the way they would go is like, okay, you voice your opinion about this, I let you get that out your system, we go on about our business,
right.
but it just got to a point, and I've never really lived with a woman like that, and I don't really,
It's
I'm not
different.
for,
It's
I'm not,
different.
yeah, I'm not for, and this is just my cousin,
Yeah, it's not, you're not
but
for shacking up. Just
yeah, I'm not really even for that, but it's just like living with a woman is different.
it's different.
You get to see, as he talks about in the book, you get to see every emotion of them. And if you don't have the right mind frame as you're looking at it,
Yeah,
you can begin to kind of take it personal. It can be a distraction in your life.
yeah.
It got to a point to where it's just like, I hear the garage go up. It's like, oh
Oh
man,
man,
yeah,
here we go.
yeah,
Look, you driving
yeah,
home, you be like, I'm gonna
yeah,
go sit in this traffic. So I
yeah.
don't.
It got to the point to where it just, she was affecting me and wasn't even present.
Yeah,
Even when I left, it got to a point, because me and her mom, we have a pretty good relationship. Like, we go out and play golf sometimes, or we might just
you
talk
into
about
golf?
life. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. She actually got me into golf. Her
Yeah,
mom, but yeah, it even got to the point to where like I would see her mom, and her mom remind me of her, or I might be driving down the street and I see, somebody's car that was same as
yeah.
hers,
You be
or
like,
I get a text, and it's just like it was just so many different things that were attacking me, and I had to make peace with the situation,
yeah,
and even though there are a lot of different things that I disagree with, I had to make peace with the situation, because the way my mind works is obsessive,
yeah,
you know, and I'll just keep thinking about certain things over and over and over again, and looking at it from this standpoint and that standpoint. It's like you weren't justified. It's just an ongoing argument that's going in my head.
yeah.
So I had to find a way to make peace with it and just let it go. And
What did that look like? Making peace with it?
the very first thing that I had to do is just accept my journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually something that I've been conscious of this year, is just accept the challenges that are coming on your journey.
Yeah,
So I can look at them objective, I can begin planning, and I can have some type of response when I meet it again. If I keep thinking about, you did me wrong, you did this, I keep rationalize it with that mind,
yeah.
I'm not going to get anywhere. It's just going to keep building up the energy within me. That's what I've learned. It's like we nothing is good or bad. And when I say that, some people get angry, or they don't agree with
I
that.
heard that a couple years, and I go ahead because I completely agree.
Nothing is good or bad. We all have the ability. we all can choose how we rationalize the situation. We all tell ourselves certain narratives
Right.
to give us a rationale, which builds energy within inside of us. You can dissipate the same energy.
Right.
So I'm just learning how I have to pick and choose the certain words that I'm using to describe the situation. And some things I have to just ignore. I just have to stop. I have to go in and prioritize and say, this is more important. If you said that this is your goal, you can't just keep thinking about this.
Yeah.
Because it's stealing energy, it's stealing time, and it's slowing down your momentum.
Yeah.
So if you really about this, you have to be conscious. That's what self-awareness is. I'm self-awareness of the energy that I'm carrying at this particular time. And that energy, and thoughts, they stay present if you continue to keep staring at them and accepting them.
Yeah. Nah, that's complete, because that's honestly goes back to what I was saying about my wife. Is like these things that I was perceiving to be negative, these things that I was perceiving to be tearing me down, when I started to look at them as preparation, all it was a mental shift.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same act, but I just shifted the way I received it, or the way I perceived it. So then that allows me to continue to say, hey, look, next time somebody in these streets does this or says this or acts this, I'm prepared for it. Like I went to McDonald's. Don't tell nobody. I went to McDonald's, and I could tell this. I got to the little intercom, and I could tell she having a bad day, man. She was like, "What do you want?" And me just initially, I was like, "Bro, I don't need to be here at all for this. Like this is."
Yeah.
I'm getting service. I'm giving you money, and you coming to me like this. You don't even know who I am. Haven't seen me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, my wife done that to me before.
Mm.
And she might have been in a negative space, but is it my job to internalize that and fire back? Because I told you, when I always tell people, fire and fire, you're going to burn it down. So I just went to the window. I said, look, I really appreciate you. It was her doing her job, just giving me my change back. And I just said, I really appreciate it. She gave me a smile. That was like a 10-second interaction. But that's because I perceived, and I was prepared to perceive her energy, have the awareness, and react in a way that I had control of. Now, I changed the whole dynamic, maybe in her day, but definitely in them 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But when we are going through whatever we go through, the instances we feel like are negative, understand it as preparation. And a lot of times you just be like, all right, I got that one. I'm going to remember that. And then so when it happens again, you're ready for it. But if you go in there and be like, girl, you crazy, don't talk to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then all you did was, now she might, look, you didn't see the videos, they throw the food in your face in the car. That can come from that. But that smile, it only has a chance if I bring the energy that I brought that time.
You know what that's called? You became conscious, and you gave the moment a purpose. Something that you're working towards. When you are devoid of purpose, and purpose doesn't mean like, oh, I'm working towards this big magnificent goal.
Right.
Purpose just means that being intentional, and I have a plan of I'm going to maintain my peace in the situation. That could be your purpose, and that I'm not going to let this person to rattle me. That's a purpose. But when you have nothing there, all you can rely upon is just the energy. And the energy says, I don't appreciate this.
Yeah.
I don't like this. This is not, I don't deserve this. I've done nothing to you. So you feel justified.
Yeah.
It's easy to get into that space when you don't have a purpose or a focus in that particular moment. Like as I was reading this book, me and a friend, a guy who's actually a part of the book club, we went out to this little festival in Atlantic Station. And there was a bar that was close by, and we both went in there to go get some drinks, and it was a long line to begin with. So we were now, it was not a long line, it was a long wait, I'll say that.
Yeah.
We was in the front, and the server was looking us in the eyes and kept walking on. So I'm just telling
you, like, I can't be bothered.
So that's the first stage.
Yeah.
So she just keeps looking me in the face and just keeps walking on. So then 20 minutes later,
you SpongeBob.
Yeah. She finally comes and says, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want a Red Bull, a sugar-free Red Bull. She's like, why you want that?
You fancy.
It's just like, why you want that?
Yeah.
Just like, she was like, Well, let me tell you this. I gotta go all the way upstairs and come back, so that's gonna be another wait.
Yeah.
You cool with that? I was like, no
Yeah.
problem.
I'm
No
gonna be
problem.
here anyway.
Yeah, no problem. So, she 20 minutes goes by. She went upstairs, come back down. See, I told you, I knew there was not any Red Bull there. I knew it was a 0.00001% chance that
Oh,
there was
she
not
got
gonna
it.
be any
She
Red
got
Bull.
scientific,
And
huh?
I went up there knowing that it wasn't there, and it's still not there.
Yeah.
So we don't got that. And why do you want that anyway? Who gets Red Bull at a bar? So I'm sitting here like listening to this. I'm letting her just go, do whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
And then the straw that broke the camel's back was another server came down and passed a woman a sugar-free Red Bull right in front of, as she's
Right
giving
next to
me,
y'all.
as she giving me all this smoke.
Yeah.
So I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, man, fuck this, and I walked off. And then so the guy that I came with, he's sitting up, he's laughing. He was like, man, you didn't find that funny? Ha! He's just laughing, and I'm like, man, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But when I walked away, from that bar, I went back home. I was like, man, I allow her to get under me like that.
Yeah.
And that was because I didn't give that moment purpose. I didn't say, this is an opportunity, like you said,
Yeah.
for me to kind of like, I've been challenged before. This is for me to kind of like be tested.
Right.
But when you're in a situation where you have no purpose and you're just following the emotion and the energy, it can get under your skin.
But see, I don't want people to miss the moment you just had, like just now. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess you've gone through it a few times in your head. We're gonna fail in our moments a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you're going through the process of what I should have done,
Mm-hmm.
what I could have done, the next time it happens, that's why I always tell people, like, thinking through a situation before it comes. Like, I'm in construction right now, and pretty much my whole job, the core of it, is thinking through all the things that can happen and being prepared for them and being able to continue to move forward. I mean, it's stuff that just happens. You be like, dang, but I got something in my back pocket that I've already prepared for, some money, or I put some fluff in the schedule. But thinking through it gives you the opportunity for the next time an incident or an occurrence happens, you can move through it a lot better. If you just left that instance pissed off, throwing the table out, and never thought about it again, the next time it happened, you're probably going to do the same thing. But the fact that you have gone through the thought process of like, look, that wasn't my best moment. She had a terrible moment, but I didn't react the best that I could have.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next time you go into it, you're more prepared. And like, I'm going to keep going back to my wife because she's a teacher. Anytime she brings something to me, it's preparation. Mm-hmm. And that's why we got to look at life. Like, the instances that we have are preparing us for the moments we'll have tomorrow. So the past and what you're going through right now, learn from them. So when the future comes, you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that, man. There was a situation that happened recently. This wasn't even with a female. This was just or a woman. I'm not trying to
get canceled before you get started.
But this is with this wasn't with a woman. This is a man. So in the mornings, during the week, I go to the gym early because my workout session starts at 7:30. So sometimes I might get there around like 5, and I might post up and read or do some stuff for my business. So that day, I'm diligently working, and this dude, he comes into this area. The area that I sit in is like a little lounge area, and then right next to it is like a massage table and all this other stuff. There's a room for that. So he's coming in here to go in there. So he walks past me. He says something, but I got my headphones on. And I ain't respond purposely because I want him to know that I'm working. So he goes in, says whatever. I don't know what he said, but he goes into the massage room. So then about 15, 20 minutes later, one of the workers at the gym, they come in there to get him up. So he walks out angry, so he starts talking and he's saying different things. Then I take my headphones. I was like, man, this girl, she just came in there and just told me I gotta go because I fell asleep on the table. Why she she can't make me leave. I pay my money and this, that, and the third.
Right.
See, that's what's wrong with black people and this, that, and the third. So I'm sitting here just allowing him to rant.
This a brother, huh?
Yeah, this is a black guy. Excuse me. So, he goes on like that for 10 minutes and he then leaves.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, back to my, regularly scheduled programming, So he goes in there, and then the worker She comes into where I'm at and she sits down and said, you know what, I quit. So I'm like, what happened?
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's like 6 o'clock and 6:30 in the morning. So she's like, I quit. I can't do this no more. I was like, don't quit your job. It's like it's not even really all that. So then next thing I hear a dude, he's just like yelling and screaming, talking about F this. And he's like on the phone, just yelling and screaming. And I see people in other areas of the gym just walking towards the door, leaving.
Yeah.
So he just starts to get even loud. He's talking about, man, F Planet Fitness, man, I could come in here and shoot this place up. So he said that. And he just came in there and talked, he was talking to me. So something inside of me just said, go talk to him.
Really?
Yes. So
at 6 o'clock, look, go ahead with your story. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's going on, bruh. Nah, I'm good. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm out of here.
So something. I was like, there's a reason he came and talked to me. I
Yeah.
don't know. So I get up. I'm a little nervous. I'm like, shit. I don't know what he got on him. So he went into the bathroom, to the locker room. Nobody's in there. So I walk in there, come in behind him. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, brother, what's your name? And I held my hand out to shake his hand. So he dapped me up. I was like, what's going on? What's the problem here, man?
Yeah.
Why you doing it? I was like, you out here making people feel uncomfortable because you out here yelling and screaming. He was like, but they did this and they did that. I was like, but brother, you got to understand, you an establishment, man. You about to get arrested. I don't care, man. That girl said she called me a bitch ass nigga.
Yeah.
That's it. And I was like, oh, whoa, she said that to you? I was like, oh, she working it. But he just kept going on and on. And then, I'm just stepping back in the situation. I'm detaching from, what's actually going on. I'm just observing him. So, I grew up in somewhat of like a, cultural community. Like I see people, wearing certain symbols.
Right.
So I'm seeing him wearing certain symbols. He's got like this gemstone and he has this copper wiring wrapped in a certain type of way. He got a yin yang pendant on his hat. So I'm trying to connect to him on that. I was like, what does that mean? That ring that you got? He was like, that means balance. I was like, well, brother, like right now, are you acting balanced right now? Like, so through me kind of just like engaging him and stepping back from the situation, I was able to kind of calm him down. He was still a little angry and upset.
Still had a lot of energy.
But I was able to kind of control the energy on some level. I got him to kind of sit down, to kind of talk things out. And, I was able to de-escalate the situation. But it was a situation where it was like, man, like, I can't believe I did that. Like,
yeah.
But the issue was this. The reason why he was so upset is because this dude right now, he's in between houses right now. And he was using Planet Fitness as a place to kind of like store his stuff because they got lockers and stuff.
Yeah.
And, he was using it kind of store his stuff and he was kind of sleeping in there, from time to time. And he just felt really disrespected. So I kind of looked at it like, treat him like a human, treat him like a person, and just, try to talk to him. But that was a really interesting situation where, I kind of felt, it was a little uneasy, but it was like, okay, let me look at the situation for what it is. This guy kind of connected to me. He wasn't too much of a threat,
Yeah.
But it was just it was a very unique situation, man.
That was actually a very powerful moment, bro, for you. And
So.
you were an innocent bystander, but you stepped in and carried your awareness, the awareness you've been preparing yourself for and carrying with you, and brought it to another man who's in his moment. Like, it's cool. Me and you talking right now, you can learn something, take it and use it. But he in his moment. And you were able to bring him your awareness, but also remind him of his. Because for him to carry those symbols means he's already thought through these things. It's supposed to be part of him.
Yeah.
But he forgot about it. And it happens that the emotions are so strong that we lose it.
Yeah.
But for you to bring your awareness, and I always think about what's calming. People think water is calming. His fire is raging. And you brought his fire not to douse him out, but just to calm him down into a space where he can realize, like, see his whole reality. This is where I'm at right now. I understand why I'm reacting this way. But now I have to, how is the best way to react? Is the best way to move forward? So for you to do that in that moment, not knowing dude for real, because in this time, in this day and time, you don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a powerful moment.
And he was talking about killing people.
Yes, and that's why I said I would have went home and ate me some breakfast again.
But but you know the thought that kind of like inspired me to kind of do that. Like, I don't know if you heard the story of like Lou Williams. Like, he was out here in Atlanta somewhere,
Yeah.
and he was driving around in his, I think it was a Rolls Royce, and somebody walked up to his car and tried to rob him.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that encounter, he wound up taking the guy who tried to rob him out to eat breakfast, and they sat down and had a conversation
Yeah.
about what's going on, what he need to do. And that thought kind of briefly like flashed in my mind in this
Yeah.
situation, but it could have been dangerous, and maybe thinking about it now, maybe I shouldn't have stepped into it because, this dude could have had a gun and wasn't trying to hear what I was trying to say. But,
Right.
For some reason, the only reason why I talked to him is because, like, he came and talked to me first.
Before.
And I guess maybe I tried to make sense out of just life in that situation. It was like, maybe there was a reason in that, but yeah, that was a thought that kind of came to my mind. I was like, because I get inspired by stuff. It's like, could I do something like that? But you shouldn't put your neck on the line for just anything like that either.
Yeah. You talking like that makes me think of something that's happened recently, because my man had something going on behind the scenes that nobody saw until you sat down and talked with him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people react or act out because of things that we don't see. It may be an instance that happens that triggers it, but all the fire and action, the intensity behind it is from things happening that nobody sees. Mm-hmm. We just watched Will Smith, one of our black heroes, walk on stage and smack another hero, Chris Rock, on national, global television. Mm-hmm. And you start to think like, what did he say that made this man lose all of his composure and put really his career. I mean, he's probably gonna get another opportunity to do something, but he put it on the line for a couple words.
Yeah.
In my perspective, it has to be something. It may not be something that's happening in the immediate, or it may be something that's related to his communication or dialogue with his wife, because you see that he was laughing at first, mm-hmm. but then his reaction changed, and I didn't see him and his wife's eye contact connection, mm-hmm. but you could tell she wasn't having a good time with that joke, but it was honestly a minor joke, but he took it to that extreme. We gotta understand that it's something going on behind everybody we interact with.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like you said, a lot of times when we look at stuff, it's not so much of the act that the person responded to that got, that wasn't the straw to break the camel's back.
Right.
It's the buildup.
Right.
And maybe he probably is in a situation where he doesn't have a voice, but yet, and I'm just speaking on, his relationship. I don't really know it, like that. But I can say, listening to some of the stuff that Jada Pinkett Smith has put out there, Will may not feel valued for what he's done for the family.
Right.
And that was a big epiphany for me, because that one moment, or their relationship, where it kind of looks like Will is seeking validation from his wife.
That's what I saw. I don't know, but that's what I saw.
Where it looks like Will is trying to seek validation from his wife. It seems like every man kind of can experience that. And I think the reason why I think Jada, I don't think she ever really liked Will like that. I think she grew up in a certain way. We've all heard the stories about her and Tupac. But I don't think she looked at Will Smith as he was this great figure. She looked at him as the corny dude.
Yeah.
He was the nice guy,
yeah.
the safe guy,
exactly.
the guy that everybody wanted. But I guess she admired something else, or she thought better was something else. And that the reason why that moment kind of hit me is because I've been in situations where I may have been chasing someone's validation, not to the point to where I'm willing to get up and attack somebody like Will Smith has done, but I've been to a point to where it's just like I stayed in a situation so long because I'm trying to prove to this person that I'm worthy or
Right.
I'm the best or
Right.
I can do these things. And to be quite frankly, after that relationship ended, actually, the reason why that relationship ended was because I thought that, hey, if I leave the situation, she will feel what I brought to the situation and then she'll be wanting to come back. But
Hopefully, but
yeah,
no.
but the way life turned out, the
Yeah.
lesson for me is, it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And my mind for quite some time was kind of obsessively kind of thinking about that. And it's not like I was in love with this person. I just wanted that person to see value in me because I didn't see value in myself at that particular time.
I think what you're hitting on is why. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I think this book should be essential reading for every man. I think right when you come out of college, every man needs to read this book. But
Just dealing with women, like from if you can, in
understanding
high school.
understanding yourself though,
Yeah.
like you understanding that you need to know who you are and understand what your purpose and path is. I mean, the end goal is gonna change because you're gonna have different goals. But like who you are and your core purpose, understanding that is gonna carry you whatever woman comes. And that's part of what the book says is like prioritize your purpose. Prioritize your I'm trying to pull from The Alchemist, your I forgot what the name of it was, but just what you feel is your core. Prioritize that and move forward towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't allow you wanting to appease or impress some woman to affect your core purpose. Because to me, if Will lives in his core purpose in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to my wife tonight. I can go talk to Chris later on. We can handle this. But me looking for her validation in this moment and letting that supersede what my core is allows me to go on stage in front of everybody and really epitomize a show black on black crime.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more than just him hitting Chris Rock in the face. It's a dynamic of him and his wife. It's a dynamic between him and his friend Chris Rock. It's a dynamic for black people as a whole of us attacking each other. Like this is so much more than just this moment. But with you letting I'm trying to show out for her. Come in front of what your core is, what you say your core is.
I don't think it was all for Jada. I think it's more for the public too. You
think so?
Yeah, I mean, you said you're reading the Will Smith book, right?
I'm reading this book now.
A big part of what I've heard, and I need to read that book, but what I've been hearing other people talk about the book is him kind of identifying as a coward.
Yeah.
And in that moment, like that's a real jarring situation. I don't know if maybe you have, but like I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where or have you been in a situation where something it's a really bold moment where like it's something so bold it could be shocking, and you can either, if you're not present and with a purpose in mind in that moment, you can either react to that situation or you can fold. And I've been in situations like that.
Or you can respond.
Or you can respond.
Because to me, reaction and response is different.
But responding comes with a purpose in mind. If you have a purpose in that particular time.
And awareness in mind.
Yeah, there's an awareness. There's an awareness of, okay, I have a plan or something.
Right.
But when you don't have that and you're consumed with energy,
exactly,
the emotion of the moment.
Right.
And then you got all these people looking. Like that's like, even though the joke to me, in my opinion, is very sensitive. He put the disclaimer, love you, Jada.
Yeah.
And then he said what he said. And he, according to, the statements, he didn't notice she had alopecia. But it was a very minor statement. But
yeah,
for someone to kind of attack, if you believe it's an attack, your wife in front of you, and you already believe yourself to be a coward, you might feel like I need to turn up, or you might bitch up,
But see, that's where like another piece of his book is awareness.
Yeah.
It's like he knows he's already gone through the process of I was a coward my whole life. There's another piece of the book where Will Smith is knocking people out left and right because of something that happened with him and a woman, a relationship. He reacted, and his reaction was, every weekend I'm about to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, he's gone through this thought process to be present enough in this moment to like, all right, I've been considered a coward. I consider myself a coward.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel this energy right now. What do I do with it? I guarantee he's gone through the thought process of I'm a coward thousands of times.
Mm-hmm.
My expectation, especially, and we put him on a platform, for somebody who does that consistently, and you got to give humans grace. So I give him grace of being a human. Now you got to figure out how to move forward from your actions. But bro, understand the moment, understand who you are, who you know you are, and what's the best response to Chris Rock's. Honestly, I told my wife the other day, I wouldn't have been mad if Will Smith went up to Chris Rock, feeling the energy. We got to go talk in the back. F this this Oscars. Let's go talk in the back, and you understand why I'm feeling like this. But to come up, lose your cool in front of other people, maybe for the adoration of your wife, and smack another man on national television, global television, to me is unacceptable. But because I'm reading his book, I'm understanding. Yeah, I know that coward thing is big to him.
Yeah.
But to go through that thought process, like I said, when you start thinking about when things happen, how do I respond? You're prepared for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He did not, in my opinion, react with his preparation that I know that he's gone through and listened to his book, because his book is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's gone through all the thought process of every instance that major instance that he experienced on his rise, and his valleys and rise back up. But for that person to go out and do that in that moment, I can't agree. I can't accept, and I want more from him.
Mm-hmm. And here's just the conspiracy within me. Like, I believe Will Smith to be a very smart person.
I agree.
And on top of that, he's an actor. And being an actor is all about controlling your emotions and expressing them in certain ways.
Yeah.
So, as you're talking to me, what you've learned in the book, I'm thinking like, how does a person just lose complete control in a moment like that?
Yeah.
And just fly off the handle? It just, it doesn't make sense. But that has also been floating around in my mind. It's like, is this even a real moment?
Yeah.
Because it's just,
I mean, to me, it's real until it's not. Until we find out otherwise, it's real, because the way we perceive it is real.
Yeah.
Like, until we find out, like, hey, they scripted this, he gonna say this joke, and Chris is gonna give him that wink.
Yeah.
He gonna get up there, and I'm gonna fake that slap. Until we find that out, this is real to us.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, the public perception, we're gonna have something to talk about. And my biggest thing, like, I was talking to some friends about AB, like, these stars, they're people, and they got feelings, they got reactions, whatever. But when you step into that arena, that spotlight, it's tens of millions of kids looking at you. It's tens of millions of young adults looking at you as the example. And I know it's not what was on the dotted line when you signed it, but that's part of it.
There's no way Will Smith forgot that.
I don't think he did either. But he reacted.
He definitely reacted. Yeah, that was. But the funny thing is, it seems, in my opinion, like women and men have two different thoughts on this. And this is another example to me where it's just like, men and women, we have two different types of awareness, which is what this book is about. You know, we have two different types of awarenesses. What I've been hearing consistently from the black women, they may not necessarily agree with the slap. And I feel like on some level, some women, not all, they want to align themselves with what they think the group thinks is right. Yeah. So if all the men and everybody's saying, oh, well, that was wrong, women begin to go and start saying, okay, well, maybe it wasn't right, but I still think this. So I started hearing that as the days progress.
But you think they were consistent about saying the defense of his wife was correct?
Yeah, well, and this is how I took it. And I've been trying to get more into my emotional intelligence. So not so much listening directly to the content that you're saying, but kind of also piecing together what's going on socially and, what feelings are you really connecting with? So what I think black women in particular are connecting with is they just like to see a man is willing to protect her.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of one woman, she just said, I think black men are punks. And that's why they don't like what Will Smith did. And I didn't take it personal, but I understood what she's trying to say. Like, from a societal perspective, it does look like there's a lot of infighting amongst black men and black women. And we don't really have a whole lot of examples, good examples. I don't think this is a good example, but good examples of a black man willing to stand up and hand in hand with their woman. So I could understand why she would feel that way. But black men, they're just looking at it like, man, you just made us all look bad. Like, we're just like, the reason why that imagery is so bad is because Will Smith is supposed to be one of the
The
best
best
from our
of us.
community.
Yeah.
You know, that's it from an entertainment perspective. He is. That's like Barack Obama getting up and slapping somebody. It's like, come on. Like, even if it might have been justice, it's like, come on now. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to do
You
that.
know,
So,
you represent more than just you. And like I said, when you sign the dotted line for your stardom, it don't say that,
yeah.
but it's implied.
Yeah. So for Will Smith to lose control like that, then what do you think the world thinks? It's like, oh, they all got that in them.
And see, a lot of times I was actually talking to somebody of a different culture, and I was saying, like, a lot of times I step in the room, I'm the only connection that this group of people has with my culture, besides what they see on TV. So when I step in the room, I carry myself like, you may not see another me in another 10 years in this space. I carried all those people that may have opportunities on my back. And I at one point I thought it was like a huge burden, but I'm really just like, define what your character is. If it's your character, you're not acting. You're just being yourself. But you got to remember to hold your character every time you step in that room. And to me, every time Will Smith steps out into the public eye, look, you are a human being, bruh. Have your feelings, your emotions, but your character has to remain strong because of who is on your back, who's on your coattail, who is the image that other people see when they see you. Because when they see me step in the room, they see pretty much all young black men.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But most black men was like, man, he did us bad. He set us back. You know, that's
I like to add, and I know we probably got to get to the end of this, but I was listening to Malcolm Jenkins yesterday on The Pivot, loving that podcast, and he was saying, I don't even think it was tied to the Will Smith incident. It might have been, but he was just saying that, like, black women, it's crazy how they have always supported and protected us black men, even holding our families together. They even pulled up a image of when the kid Sterling got killed in Louisiana, where it's a bunch of black men here for the fight, but it's a row of three rows of black women protecting us from what could happen to the police. Like, throughout history, black women have protected us, nurtured us, grown us, but at the same time, we demean them. We tear them down. We're disrespectful to them. In that instance, like you were saying, that was a moment of defending the black woman, but how it came out is going to minimize that core and what because I know what he was trying to do. You talk about my wife, we got to talk, but the time and place, the space, who it was, you got to understand that at all times too in your response.
And I guess this is a side note. Like, why do you think it is that way when Sterling?
Because go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, why do you think that black men are not willing to protect on the same level or give the protection that black women give us?
I think it's a respect thing, because throughout history, the only person we've been able to dominate as black men is black women. And for us, like, you my brother, we go through whatever, I respect you, I'm gonna fight for you, dog. Somebody that I punk out, that I disrespect, that I don't see as valued, I'm not necessarily gonna fight for them unless they like a child. So that's the kind of the hidden mentality of, like, I don't respect you, so why would I'm not fighting for you. But when we can look at ourselves and understand that that's how we subconsciously view our homes, our women, and start adjusting that, I think it's gonna build stronger homes and then eventually stronger generations.
What do you think that we need to do to I guess connect or build that respect?
To me, it's this. It's me and you talk and bring it out in front of us, within in front of people. Because when people think through things, like we said, when you think through it, because a lot of times people don't even think that they're doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a subconscious thing that you grew up and that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk it out, put it in front, now I get to think through it. So now when I have an instance, I take the correct or I take a different action than what would have been my subconscious action. So that's what I love honestly about podcasts, about people just sitting down and having conversations. Is like, let's bring it out, and then from there, you can live through it, experience it, work on it, and now your child, your cousin, your family, the brother you sit down with, you can express that to him, and it just branches out. But with us, if we just don't talk about it, don't bring it out, just let it be the status quo, it's gonna be the status quo.
I do agree with that. I do think that we need to be able to talk it out. But I also think reading books like
I always be like, where's the but?
nah, that's no but. I mean, I do think we need to be able to talk it out. That is a major part of it.
Yeah.
Um, I also think books like The Way of the Superior Man is extremely beneficial
Yeah.
to especially us. What I've figured out just through my own life is that when it comes to just relationships, there is not a lot of education that we go through so that we are prepared for these things.
Right.
We don't know just the basic stuff. A lot of us don't understand how to even communicate. What is she saying? What is my responsibilities in the relationship?
Right.
What are her responsibilities in a relationship? Who should we be going to seek guidance, get
Right.
counsel from? Like all of these things are missing from our culture. Like our culture is a baby mama culture.
Yeah.
Like marriage is not really a part of our culture. Like there are people who do it, but learning how to sustain it. And a lot of people like to bring up the statistics of they say only 25% of women will get married, and then of those marriages, 50% or
Will end in
50% more will
divorce.
end in divorce.
Yeah.
And it's
They
like
they say 25% of women get married.
about
Wow.
25%. Yeah, it's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, but the way that those people use those statistics is usually to weaponize and discourage people that, okay, marriage isn't the way.
Yeah.
But if you were then to go and ask that person, so are you going to become a millionaire one day? They'll be like, yeah. So what is the percentage of you becoming a millionaire?
I was gonna go towards, okay, so where is the stability and growth ratio? So
Yeah.
those relationships that do not end in divorce, those marriages,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the percentage of those are that to reach some type of monetary number or some type of growth number versus the individuals who either proceed in life on their own or divorce and just go their separate ways.
Yeah, exactly. So, but where I was going with that is there are people who say that they want to be successful and their success is monetary based.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about the percentage of people who become millionaires in a lifetime, I bet you it's less than 50%. It's just way less than 25%. You probably have less than a 5%, 1% chance to become a millionaire.
You talking about just out of all people?
Yeah.
And you probably looking at like 0.1%.
That's what I'm saying. But people are still striving, and they think that's a worthy dream to go after. But what do
it's
those
worthy,
people do?
But what's the real core and what's the real success?
Where I was going with that is, with all things, there is a system of habits. There are behaviors that can put you in the best. Yeah, that can lead you to success, which is the same thing with relationships. If we really wanted to understand,
I hear you.
If we really wanted to understand how to have successful relationships, then why don't we study the communities and the peoples who have the most success in those areas? Yeah. And that will bring down the number of divorces and things like that. So, I guess people like to use these statistics as weapons to discourage people from doing certain things, and facts, as we all know, facts don't explain why. They just tell you at
What?
that particular moment
What it is.
what happened, or
Yeah.
it's just data. But yeah, if we were to learn, if we became more educated on just relationships, the responsibilities in the relationship, how to become a partnership, working together, and then having people to counsel us, when we're in times of need, I bet you the chances of us staying together will increase. And we start learning these things as we grow up, but we don't get that.
We
We
Go ahead.
What we gonna say? You can go.
No, go finish your thought, because
Nah,
I'm vibing with this right now.
nah. I'm just saying that we don't have these things,
Yeah.
and I think being introduced to the way of the superior man, you get a glimpse of that. It's a very short book. It's an easy read. It has several different parts to it. I believe it's like 8 different parts. But that can open you the door of self-educating yourself on who you need to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's one of those books where it's like, don't just believe it. Like Wallace said, try
Try
to
it
just
out.
apply it.
Yeah.
If it works for you, then it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, okay, well, that didn't work for you.
Keep searching.
Yeah, but yeah, we gotta have some education when it comes to just relationships.
Yeah, I was only going to say that, to me, it sounds like you agree with what I believe. Like, this book is an essential foundation piece, education piece for being, one, a man, but then also being the leader of a household and eventually being a leader of a community. Like this, I honestly would put this on anybody's must reads for a young man. Zikomo said in high school, I said, stepping first day out of college, I feel like you got to read this book as you step into the world, because the content is so usable, because any person can read this book and then look back on their life in instances where they could have tried it. So now you go into the next instance and try it. And it, like, to me, I told you, the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to implement it as much as I can. And I've seen the value in my relationship, but then also in my confidence in me. Like, understanding, like, yo, you continue to pursue who you are, your foundation, your core, carry that forward, but also be mindful of how that integrates with women and people.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So before we close it out, I would like to say, tell you guys the next book we're gonna be going over. So the next book, it's called Winning by Tim Grove. It's just a book where the author, he's a trainer and he's worked with several elite athletes in sports, such as Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley, and several others. He also talks about different CEOs that he's worked with.
Yeah.
So it's not just sports related; it's also business related. If you're in entrepreneurship. But this is the next book that we're going to be talking about in the following month. If you want to be a part of the club of reading Just 10 Pages, pick up the book, follow the page at Just10Pages on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time.
Is it just the number 10 or the T?
It's just the number 10 pages.
Okay, and
Pages
I'll write it in the description. Yeah.
So it's just 10 pages. So this will be the next book. I've actually started reading it, and I'm already seeing it's cracking to be a good book. So
I'm pretty excited, man. Especially after you picking this first book, I'm excited to see what follows. So it's been a pleasure, my brother.
All right, man.
Just 10 pages.
Just 10 pages. That's the mantra.
There you go. All right, family. Peace.
Peace.